Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Retire Well, the show designed to help you build a better life. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio are two members from Citizen Advisory Group. We have the co-founder and financial advisor, Kevin Bucher, and financial advisor, Pete Samenuk. We're so glad you're joining us today, and each and every week we always try to think about the questions and concerns that are on the top of your minds. And we know that one of the biggest questions, and one of the questions you guys get all the time, is am I ready? Can I go ahead and retire? So today we're going to peel back the curtain on the 5 areas of financial planning that need to be a part of your comprehensive retirement plan to make sure that you're on track and that you can retire well. Kevin, Pete, so good to be here with both of you. How are you guys this week?
Thank you, Kristen. Great to be with you.
Thank
Doing
you.
good. Great to have you back. I know you were off for a few weeks here and there.
Yes, I know. I missed you guys. So
Yes.
great to be back with both of you.
Really is.
You couldn't stay away.
No, for sure not. And I missed you guys, and you know that.
Yes.
And I missed all of you too. So thank you. We know several of you tune in week after week. And if you're new here, welcome to be a part of the Retire Well family. Your family for life. That's how it works, right?
Really is what we built our practice around. I know it sounds cheesy and it's very cliche, but we truly do have a family practice.
You do live it.
I think it's very genuine, and I think people have a very good natural instinct to be able to tell if something's genuine when it comes to that or not. And so I think if you have the opportunity to come in and meet with us and our team, I think you'll see that we are exactly who we say we are, and that we do have a very family first mindset and culture within our company.
Absolutely. And what you see on TV is what you're going to get in person, right?
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
And everything in between.
We're a little more fun in person, actually.
Yes,
We're working on that,
even
but
more so. Aw. Well, I'm excited to really peel back the curtain today on what it means to be ready for retirement. And we have a very special online interactive resource for you that we're excited to share with you today. We call this our Retirement Readiness Quiz. Now, this is completely free for you to use. It's a quick online assessment. Will take you probably about 7 minutes to complete. So we invite you, visit this website, cagquiz.com. You can also get there by scanning that QR code. This assessment will do a really good job of helping you see where are there some potential gaps in your current retirement plan or your lack of a plan thereof. And I think this will be really helpful. And today we're going to really dive into the 5 key areas. You guys refer to these as the retirement planning checkpoints. So would love to hear just a quick overarching overview of what those 5 are, and then we're going to go through each one in a little more detail.
Yeah, and I'll kind of add on to that, as I would call them really financial planning checkpoints. Whether or not you're far from retirement, I think we have a lot of younger clients that watch this show and younger folks out in the workplace. So financial planning and retirement planning checkpoints. But really what we're talking about, again, is the 5 areas is investment planning and investment management, tax planning, retirement income and cash flow planning, risk planning or risk management, which would be insurance planning, and Kevin will kind of talk a little bit more in detail on what that entails, and then rounding things out with estate planning. And what we find with most people, when you're working with a wealth manager or a salesperson, they're really only working in the investment management space, and that's really 20% of the ballgame. We have to have all of those things coordinated so that we don't have gaps in that plan.
Well, and this is what makes you and the team of Citizen Advisory Group so unique, is that you are able to address all 5 of these financial planning checkpoints in-house. So talk a little bit about how your approach is different than just a traditional wealth manager.
Yeah, I think a typical scenario that we see is someone might be working with an investment advisor to where they have someone helping them with their investment allocation, and they might have an insurance person that's helped them with either their health insurance or life insurance or whatever it may be. They might have an accountant that's helping them in matters of taxes, and then they might have an attorney that's helped them draw up some estate documents and different legal documents for them. But typically what we find is you have all these different individuals that you've engaged with, but none of them have ever communicated with each other, so one hand has no idea what the other is doing, and you end up with this just very disjointed, fractured plan. And so we have built Citizen Advisory Group differently to where when we're offering these comprehensive solutions across the 5 areas, it's coming from a place of in-house where one hand does know what the other's doing. We've built teams of advisors, so we have a 2 2 or 3 to 1 ratio of advisor to client. We have other specialists that help with areas of taxes and insurance. So it is a very connected plan to help eliminate things slipping between the cracks.
And one of the things I'll highlight, Kevin, because you talked about this just earlier today when we were speaking, and in some different things we were doing, but holistic and comprehensive financial planning right now is a buzzword, isn't it? It's a buzzword, and everyone claims that they do it. And some of the things you were saying really made a lot of sense to me, is that some of these firms that claim that they do it have 2 or 3 people working at that company, or they're so large that it's just impossible to coordinate all of those different areas. What Kevin said is we've built this business with intention and purpose so that we can encompass all those areas. And a big thing too, Kevin, is how we hire, right? I mean, we hire 2 or 3 to 1 from service to what we would call sales. So we have way more service and back office people than we do sales people.
You do, and it's such a beautiful office space. I feel like as you go around your building, you kind of hit each of the 5 checkpoints, if you will, right? As you meet
that's true.
the entire team that makes it
that's a good-
happen.
And you've probably heard me say, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And I think that is equally true in the world of financial planning, because I certainly cannot do it by myself.
Right.
I learned that a long time ago. So to Pete's point, we very intentionally hire, and I hope that as we're bringing in new talent, that we're bringing in people that are smarter and brighter than I ever could envision to be, so that we are able to provide cutting-edge, top-notch solutions. But it takes a group of people, and when you look at our team picture, there's a lot of people. And so sometimes people say, wow, you have a really big team. It's not because I want to have a big team, it's because that's what it takes to do what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, and to serve your clients at the level that you do.
Yeah, and 10 years ago, we've had some of our clients that have been with us a long time. They just say how much we've grown. You know, we didn't have this many people 10 years ago.
Right.
And, we're blessed to do that. But to Kevin's point, that's deliberate.
Well, before we close out this first segment, I think we should hit on the first retirement checkpoint or financial planning checkpoint, which of course is the investment management, which I'm sure our viewers are pretty familiar with, but why don't you just quickly share what all goes into that from your perspective?
Well, so I guess I'll start. So investment management is obviously a critical component to financial planning, and it's how we make our money. So it's important to us too. So we do help people with their investments. So we are what I would say not an investment first firm, because we can't really start to build out a plan with having investments as the priority. The priority has to be with what are the overall goals and objectives that we're trying to accomplish, and then the investments tend to fit themselves into that. But when we're looking at investment management, we have to understand what are the goals and objectives. What is the individual that we're working with? What is their tolerance and capacity to take on some risk? And then putting forth the proper allocation then to achieve those goals and objectives with the least amount of risk possible to do so. So I know I just said a lot of industry jargon words, but investment management is that process. How do we tailor an investment allocation together to best meet the goals and objectives, taking the least amount of risk to do so?
Yes, and really the order that we're sharing these 5 checkpoints as well is the order that you encounter these in your life, right? And so this is going to affect, to your point, Pete, even if someone isn't nearing or entering retirement right now, this investment management piece is crucial.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't necessarily say they're exactly in order. It could be a little bit different for everybody. But to Kevin, one of the things he said that if you're ever working with someone and they start with investments, that's not where we should be starting. We have to start with goals, and then investments and your allocation will follow.
Yes, goals for sure.
Right.
What I meant is that in the timeline of your life,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
The first
correct.
one that
Yes.
you are
Yeah.
coming up against is
Yeah,
you're saving
sorry.
for retirement's investment management,
Yes.
and I know we'll get into the other 4.
Yeah, and that's why, right? If you're starting with investments first, you're completely skipping a step. Really, the most
Right.
crucial step is what are your goals?
Exactly. What are you trying to accomplish? Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited for folks to get to hear the rest of what you have to say about these remaining 4 checkpoints, because again, that's really what does set you and the team of Citizen Advisory Group apart. But if this is resonating meeting with you, or maybe you visited cagquiz.com and you've gotten your very own personal retirement readiness score, and you're realizing, there might be some areas that can be improved upon for how ready you are to take this big step in your life. We encourage you to reach out to the team of Citizen Advisory Group to schedule your complimentary retirement checkpoint review. And you can do so by calling 866-630-1675. Or if you'd rather connect online, simply grab your smartphone. You can scan that QR code there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and that will get you connected as well. Stay with us. When we come back, Kevin and Pete are going to dive into the 4 remaining financial checkpoints. You're definitely going to want to hear what they have to say about those, so stay with us.
Are you ready to retire? It's a simple question, but one that too many people can't answer with confidence. If you've saved some money, that's great, but have you thought about how long it needs to last? What about Social Security, healthcare costs, taxes? We created the Retirement Readiness Quiz to help you answer all of that. It's a quick self-assessment that gives you a score based on how ready you are across 5 key areas of retirement planning. In just a few minutes, you'll have a clearer picture of where you stand and where you might need a second opinion. You don't have to guess, and you don't have to do it alone. The quiz is free, and it's a great way to start a serious retirement conversation. Scan the QR code and take the Retirement Readiness Quiz today.
As individuals, we strive for better, from a better house, to a better career, to a better life for our kids. But when it comes to your retirement, what does better mean to you? More income? A flexible lifestyle? Better solutions? A better retirement begins with a plan. To get your complimentary written financial plan, call the number you see here. You only retire once. This is your opportunity to plan for better.
Welcome back to Retire Well. I'm Kristen Oakley here with both Kevin and Pete from Citizen Advisory Group, and we're so glad you're spending this time with us today. We are doing a deep dive on the 5 financial planning checkpoints that must be a part of your retirement plan in order for you to retire well. And if you've been asking yourself or wondering if you're ready to go ahead and retire, we invite you to also utilize what we call our Retirement Readiness Quiz. And you can access this free online interactive assessment by visiting this website here for you on the bottom of your screen, cagquiz.com. You can also get there by scanning that QR code. Takes you about 7 minutes to complete, and it's actually going to give you a retirement readiness score. And I know it's been helpful when folks have used this resource and then come in to meet with you, because it really does show them, oh, okay, I might be okay in this area, but man, there's some stuff over here I need to take care of, right?
Yeah, it gives a good starting point for us to talk about.
Yes. To get to the goals, which of course, to your point, that's where we have to start in all this stuff, right?
We have to start with goals, and segueing into, I guess, area number 2 is retirement planning. And what we mean by retirement planning, I think when we say that, or I talk about it even, it's like, isn't the whole thing retirement planning? Isn't that what we're doing? We're talking really more about cash flow planning.
Income planning.
It's the
piece.
income planning and the cash flow planning and how we're actually going to get paid. Because I always ask this, especially at the dinner seminar that I do, is when we stop working, what stops happening? Well, we stop getting paid.
Right.
We're
unemployed, but for the first time, we want to be that way.
Exactly, right? Yeah, we're voluntarily unemployed.
Yes.
Right, for the most part.
But we still want to get paid.
But we still want to get paid.
We still want a paycheck.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And so where do we start getting paid from is really what we're talking about with the retirement and cash flow planning. And that's going to be doing full Social Security analysis and figuring out what's best for you in your situation. That's going to be looking at pensions, and we'll be doing a pension show shortly coming up. That's going to be looking at, how are your investments in line with what your cash flow objectives are, and how much money you need early in retirement and later in retirement. So that's really what we're talking about. It's a big, big domino. It's really the number one thing I would say that we start with when building a retirement plan is that retirement portfolio income plan.
Yes. Well, and one thing to distinguish is a lot of people have retirement accounts, but that's not the same thing as retirement planning, right? So talk about the distinction.
Yes, very far from it, right? So the retirement accounts are just stuff.
They're tools.
Yes, it's the pieces. So I guess I look at it as there's pieces to a puzzle, and retirement planning is how we now bring the puzzle together. And Social Security, to kind of go back to that, is one of those cornerstone pieces. If you're lucky enough to have a pension, that's another one of those cornerstone pieces.
Yep.
And just talking about it just takes me back to a client conversation I had just last week, where individual was getting close to retirement, so that there was decisions that they were trying to make regarding the Social Security benefits and regarding the pension. And she was real quick to want to share with me what her friends and her coworkers and her siblings, what their decisions were. So if I could impress upon you anything, it's that what your coworkers' decisions are and what your brother or sister's decisions are have nothing to do with your personal situation. So even just with Social Security as an example, the right thing for you and your family to do in regards to your Social Security filing is going to be very specific to you, your resources, and your goals and objectives. There is not one right answer to this.
Yes.
And anyone that's saying that everyone should follow some certain path is leading you down the wrong path, because you have to do the things that are right for you and your situation, and that extends from Social Security to pensions to your investment portfolio.
And these are lifelong decisions.
Yes.
These are lifelong decisions. I'm thinking that when Kevin's talking about Social Security, that should not be a decision that's taken lightly. So if you have, to Kevin's point, an advisor or a person that's just kind of cavalier about that conversation, and I'll just take Social Security when you stop working, or take it at 62. These are lifelong decisions, so it's super important stuff, and we can't neglect it.
For sure. And you can't look at any one of these decisions in a vacuum, because they're all going to impact each other. And that brings us right next to the third financial planning checkpoint, which of course is tax planning. So who wants to kick that off?
I guess I will, because
All right.
So Pete is a certified financial planner, so he likes to talk and hear himself talk a lot. I'm a retirement income certified professional, so not as much. We're more numbers driven. Sorry. We do like to have fun.
Yes.
But tax planning is a big part of what we do, and I guess I look at the three things that we've already discussed about: your investments, your income, and your taxes. There is a tremendous amount of overlap in those three areas, so we can't do one area without the other. So tax planning, I think everyone is familiar with the fact that every year we file a tax return.
Right.
And we would call that tax preparation. Tax preparation is not tax planning. Tax preparation is looking at the year that had already happened, filling out the scorecard for that, and determining if you're getting a refund or you owe some money in taxes. Tax planning is a much more forward-looking exercise, where we're projecting out over the course of many years and trying to figure out how to reduce your long-term tax liability. It's been ingrained in all of us to exercise tax avoidance strategies and techniques, and sometimes that actually leads to paying more taxes over the course of your lifetime. So we want to be more proactive in that. We want to look at a long-term picture. That's where we're looking at strategies that might mean Roth converting some of your IRA accounts. It may mean harvesting some of the gains and losses within your non-retirement accounts. It's looking at strategies on how to be more efficient with your charitable giving, how to reduce the taxes on your Social Security. All of these things play into the tax planning work that we're doing.
Yes, for sure. And it's looking over the long haul, over the rest of your life. I think that's the key, right? It's not just looking at what's happened and how can you save on this year. It's looking ahead and saying, okay, we've done other shows on that tax time bomb, right? How do we go ahead and take steps to reduce and mitigate that for the rest of your life?
Really, it's playing the long game, right? So playing the short game, if you're playing the short game with any of these areas, they're almost always going to tell you how to save taxes now. How do we save taxes today? How can I lower your tax bill this year? But you really do have to be playing the long game, because like we've talked about, that's where all those little areas that are going to possibly affect you down the road and start eating into your retirement savings are going to happen, is long term. Typically not short term, it's the long term stuff that affects us.
What would you say to someone who's watching, who's realizing that maybe so far of the three we've talked about, their current plan or lack thereof is not complete?
I would say that it's never too late. And we meet people that are at all different stages and from all different walks of life. And sometimes people have done an exceptional job of preparing themselves financially, and sometimes just because of life circumstances they haven't. But I think as a group, we understand life gets in the way sometimes of the best laid plans. So we do a pretty good job of meeting people where they're at, getting to know where they're at within this process. But then most importantly, laying out a path to be more efficient, to lead to better outcomes. Because where you have been is important, and we do need to understand that, but where you are going is much more important to us, and how we get to the best possible outcomes. And that's what this retirement checkpoint review process is intended to be. Let's identify what your strengths are. Let's identify what your weaknesses are. Let's look at those strengths and figure out how to continue to do that or do that even better. But let's look at those weaknesses and really make sure we're addressing that so that we can button up your financial future.
Well said. Kevin, Pete, thank you so much. That number to call to schedule your complimentary retirement checkpoint review is 866-630-1675. Or again, if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to dive into the final 2 financial planning checkpoints. Stay with us.
Citizen Advisory Group's located in Perrysburg, Ohio. We serve Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan primarily, although we do have clients around the country.
We have a culture of people that enjoy working with and helping others. That extends to our clients, but it also extends across the teams.
For a firm to thrive, you have to protect the culture of the company. And what that culture really resonates with is people first, is serving first. If you don't have a servant mindset or a heart to help other people, you're not going to fit.
I think it's very evident from the people that answer the phone, to the financial advisors, to everywhere in between, all the work that's required to handle a financial plan and a retirement plan for someone. You can feel the care and the love.
Imagine not having to face your retirement with the same old corporate solutions as everyone else. In these economic times, you deserve a fresh perspective that includes a personalized retirement income plan, investment portfolio analysis, and a tax map from an independent fiduciary advisor whose focus is on you. Call the number you see here to schedule your complimentary review.
Welcome back to Retire Well, where today Kevin, Pete, and I have been sharing about the 5 financial planning checkpoints that must be a part of your retirement plan. And so I would love for you to kick it back, Kevin, and just pick up with a recap of what we've talked about so far.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned how you got your investments, your income for retirement, and your tax plan, and how coordinated or integrated they are with each other. So as an example, if you have an inefficient tax plan, you are going to overpay in taxes, which means if you're overpaying taxes, you have to take more income to support the same net income that you have to live on. Mm-hmm. And if I'm taking more income from my portfolio, well, my portfolio is simply not going to last as long, right? So my inefficient tax plan is affecting my income, which is affecting how long my portfolio will last. Mm-hmm. And I can run that same scenario back the other way, that if I don't have my accounts allocated properly across the different tax types, I'm going to have to take out more income to get me the same net income because I'm paying more in taxes. Mm-hmm. So these things have to be considered together as opposed to individual decisions within a vacuum.
Right, you can't afford to look at any one of these pieces in isolation from each other. Well, we have 2 more financial planning checkpoints to get to. And again, if you are just joining us, we do encourage you to take our retirement readiness quiz. Again, this is a free online interactive assessment, which will give you your own retirement readiness score and highlight a lot of what we're talking about today. cagquiz.com. You can also get there by scanning that QR code. But next up on the list is risk management. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah, so I'll tackle this one. Our insurance needs change over time. And what I would say about insurance as a whole is, we can do a great job in managing investments, your income and your taxes, and do just a great job there. But sometimes things happen, and that's why we need insurance. So I look at insurance as just putting an umbrella over the financial plan and protecting us in case of a storm. Mm-hmm. And as a firm, we help our clients navigate the world of health insurance. So that's both pre-Medicare and post-Medicare. We assist people navigate the world of long-term care insurance. Does it make sense to have insurance? Does it not make sense to have an insurance? And then finding the appropriate solution there. We assist people with their life insurance. So this is one of those areas that your needs absolutely change over time when it comes to life insurance. So do you need the coverage that you used to have? And then getting that at the most affordable price. And then we also help clients with their home and auto insurance. Do you have the coverage you need? And are you getting that at the best price? So if I had to sum up insurance and what we look to do there is, number one, what coverage do you need? And what coverage don't you need?
Right.
And we want to get rid of that coverage that you no longer need because you're paying for something you don't need. But we want to make sure that we're applying the resources you have to the coverages that you do need.
Yes.
And hopefully getting that at the most affordable price possible.
Absolutely.
And we find tons of inefficiencies in insurance planning where people are overpaying for something, they're underpaying for something. It makes no sense for them to have that. So a big area, that's why we review it.
Yeah,
in great
absolutely,
detail.
for sure. Well, that brings us to the fifth and final financial planning checkpoint, which is legacy and estate planning. So I'd love for you to touch on that.
Yeah, legacy and estate planning is one of the areas that we tend to just kind of go to last. You know, we don't know if it's the most urgent thing or something that can wait off. But, you know, no matter where you're at in your life, we find that people don't really have a comprehensive, cohesive legacy and estate plan. And that would include your trusts, wills, financial power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney, all of those different. Do I need a trust? Is a will sufficient for what I have in my situation? You know, we just find a lot of folks are just underserved in that area.
Or do they have the proper beneficiary designations?
Do we have proper
That's something that you review
beneficiary
too.
designations? Yep, all of those things. And one of the things I was going to mention is that we find with a lot of younger folks, you know, their estate planning, a lot of times when you have minor children and if parents weren't around, you have to have a very buttoned up, tight estate plan. And most of us wait for these things later in life, but it's really one of those 5 areas of financial checkpoints that we have to make sure we're doing early in life.
Yes, or even if you've done it, when's the last time you looked at it and updated it? Because for a lot of folks, it could have been 20, 30 years,
And
right?
how many things have changed since then.
Exactly,
You know?
right. Well, clearly so much goes into building a comprehensive, holistic financial plan. I'm really glad that we could spend today's episode detailing those 5 financial planning checkpoints. What would you say to someone who's watching who knows that they need help putting all these pieces together for themselves?
Reach out. Let our team get to work for you and identify what areas are your strengths, what areas are your weaknesses, and let us start to work forward in a path to get you to a better financial place.
Wonderful. Well, Kevin, Pete, I'm excited for more folks to get to connect with you as a result of today's episode, so thank you both. And thank you for watching. Again, you can reach out today by calling 866-630-1675, or if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected for your very own complimentary retirement checkpoint review. Thanks so much for watching. Be blessed, and we look forward to being back with you next time here on Retire Well.